lady.
Whoop.
Such a lady.
Are we
So
rolling?
cool.
Did you just burp?
So cool.
Listen,
You burp.
I'm definitely not modest, but that came out of nowhere.
It did. Well, it came out of somewhere, all right.
Yeah.
Good thing it came out that end.
Yeah.
And not the other end.
No,
Yeah.
we wouldn't want that.
No.
That would be gross.
Oh,
I'm not too
that'd
proud to
never
say I
happen.
do that too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, everybody farts.
Yeah, by the way, I'm recording
poops.
now.
I knew that was
Okay.
happening.
That's why you're
Did you all
being
read that
quiet.
book to your kids?
You're like, in your face, right?
Yeah.
And who else said that recently?
Ooh, man, my man.
Yes.
So last night I went to the Elks, the Queen of Hearts. I attend that sometimes with my parents. They really wanted me to become an Elks member, and I really wanted to. You can't do that. And
Sure I can.
No, you can't.
I just did.
Okay. But I wanted to get involved. So that is the path that I chose. I really like the club itself and what it stands for. I especially like their cheap Tito's and their fried chicken on
And
Wednesday nights.
The people.
And the people, yes. But for the people, I'm sorry to you. For last night, we entered the 50-50 drawing. It was the biggest 50-50 drawing that they've had this year, biggest turnout, and I won.
Yay!
And then when I won, Mike stood up and he jumped up and he's like, "In your faces!" to like all the elderly people.
Had he had a drink or two?
No, I mean maybe one beer, but he had thought that we won the Queen of Hearts,
Not the 50-50.
not the 50-50.
He thought he was going to make it rain.
Yeah. Also, he doesn't.
just made it
He didn't
sprinkle.
understand that with the Queen of Hearts, you then have to go up and pick another card, and you might,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And the person that won the Queen of Hearts didn't win. They got their money back.
Sure.
I got more money.
You did. And then
Yeah.
you gave some back.
I did.
Yeah. Which
I
I
think
know you
that's-
weren't going to say, so I wanted to mention that for you.
I think that's the right thing to do.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I bought, everybody at the table their rounds.
Yeah.
You were very concerned about that. I did it.
I would expect you to do that, though.
Always.
I know you would.
Well,
do
that's
that.
good
That's the kind of
news.
person you are.
That's
It was good
It
news.
is. That's fun.
They,
The,
they enjoyed nice drinks. My parents did. My mom had a margarita like she always does. And right now we're enjoying these delicious margaritas that Ashley brought us from the tower.
Yeah, so the tower has started this new flight deal, which is a pretty killer deal if you think about it. And
Yeah.
if you like the tower margaritas, which I love, and I'm
Me
kind of a
too.
snob, this gives you the opportunity to try all these different flavors, and they have a long list of them. Check their Facebook page for all of them. But the flights, you get to choose 4 of the flavors, and you can kind of mix and match. So you had habanero.
I did. My face is still like that.
You
Okay,
should get-
what do we have here? It's mango.
So there's a mango, there's a watermelon, wild berry, and pineapple.
Maybe I'll take that watermelon to cool off the
Yeah.
habanero because right now I'm drinking the habanero and I am not a Tower bartender. I'm a Spring Street bartender.
Yeah.
And
The mixology of the flights
oh my God.
is to be perfected by the tower bartenders. You only need a smidge
If
of
you get them to go.
you only need a smidge of the habanero or the jalapeno, but you can mix and match. A lot of people like the mango habanero, but that's only $10.
That's only $10.
That's only $10.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
That is a great deal.
Yeah.
I
That's a
didn't
really
know
good
that.
Yep. So at least that's what I was told. I hope that's not wrong. But
Oh, I hope so too.
either way, it's a good deal.
Get a call from Rod later.
Hey, listen, I recommend going to get it, even if it's a little bit more than $10. Totally worth it.
Yes.
You can try your flavors, make it how you want, mix and match, share with friends. Just go for a nice night out. So thank you to the Tower, Myrtle, Afton, Adrian for making all these up for us. We are definitely going to enjoy them this evening.
Damn Skippy.
That's right. So, okay, other news this week, everybody knows, not so great.
It's a little somber.
Rough
Very
week.
somber.
Rough week. So,
Very, I think, rough.
Yeah.
so I'm sure everybody's aware now, a conservative activist, Charlie Kirk, was assassinated on a college campus yesterday, or Wednesday, as we're recording Thursday, but this airs Friday. At age 31, he leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters, and he was just doing what he does. He goes to college campuses and tries to talk about conservative values and tries to kind of preach his version of political philosophy, and somebody decided to shoot him.
Yeah.
And it is awful that our country has come to this. We had, President Trump during his re-election get shot at. We have some Minnesota senators get shot at. So the Minnesota senators who were shot in the legislature, they were Democrats, of course. Trump Republican, Charlie Kirk Republican, so everybody's got blood on their hands over this, and it's just awful. And I hate that our country is here today, and I don't I just don't know how you can move forward and tamp down the rhetoric. I just wish there was a way for that to happen. But I obviously don't. I don't have answers. It's just
I think this
awful.
just amped it up and divided us even more. I've heard some people say that this is a JFK moment, an Abraham Lincoln moment, if
Martin
you
Luther
will.
King Jr.
Martin Luther King.
It's been compared to a lot. Yeah.
Do you think it's along those lines?
Well, I mean, I think as far as conservative activism goes, he's certain. When I was in college, and began my professional career was just as Rush Limbaugh was beginning his ascent, and he kind of took over, and a lot of people would say saved talk radio, and now Charlie Kirk did it in a different way because he started Turning Point USA, and of course he was all online, and then he did all the tours and stuff. So again, I mean, I think when you look at it at this level, as far as being in the political consciousness, it is very much along those lines. I don't want to get into the impact of ideology on either side or anything like that, but again, when you're just talking about the political, the social impact of this, yes, it is very much along those lines.
When you have to fear for your safety because of your beliefs, that makes it all very parallel. I think it's a nice save.
Good save.
I think
That's all I've had to drink so far.
I think it's unfortunate that it is being used even more divisive, as we see on Facebook. Even everybody seems to agree that this is terrible, but it doesn't stop people from using.
Everyone.
Well, I think if you
Anybody any sane person knows it's terrible.
If you take the
Still have people
political
out there
I know.
saying
I
yes.
know.
But if you
I
take
know.
the political rhetoric out, everyone will agree that the loss of a young husband and father is a terrible thing.
You would think everyone would agree.
Son.
There are some people out there that are still like good.
Yeah.
And in fact, we just heard it from the manager of the new Freddy's. They said
Former manager.
another one bites the dust was that post.
Yeah.
And to think that what you just said, it was a human life lost to react that way. I don't get it. I understand that our country is divided, but yeah, I don't get it. Another thing that I learned about Charlie Kirk recently was, a lot of people say he was amped up to probably be the next president. I know he was young, but
If not the next, at least the future.
Yeah.
He had future potential for sure.
absolutely.
I mean, he was very steadfast in his beliefs and his convictions. And I think it is so sad that you don't get to have those and speak those in a very respectful manner, and trying to, like, visiting college campuses and trying to talk to people and understand the other side, but also try to expand on your beliefs and your convictions. I think that's a very respectful thing to do, to have to worry for your safety. It's just a really sad state of affairs that we're in.
Well, and let's be honest, if you're in the political arena, if you have a position like that, if you're a politician, if you're an activist or whatever, I mean, it's just got to make, I mean, are you next? I mean, I mean, my wife and I last night sat there and we talked to our son, and it's just like, you're right there in the spotlight, and just be careful. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just scary. It's scary as hell. And again, I don't care what side you're on. It's scary as hell that people are out there doing this. We had we had it happen with President Trump when he was on the campaign trail. And we've had it happen again with, like I said, Minnesota, and then this. And again, it goes back. You can always see this. And again, it's for people to try to blame either side. It's a pox on our democracy across the board. Yeah. Everybody's got blood on their hands. And I don't know how you pull back from this. And you just have people who want to ramp it up now even more after that. And it's like, man, can we just take a minute and think about what we're doing here?
Then you have people who use these posts that they know are getting a lot of attention on social media, and they use it to then bring their soapbox to it to get attention. It's like, that's so inappropriate. And
Tell me about it.
yeah, it's sad that we're using something like this to further our own weird agenda. And to me, politics is just not worth anyone's safety. I know that politics as an umbrella covers all of that, but to think that doing something like this to another human being is going to get your message heard or prove a point or even I don't know. I'm at a loss because
I
I don't know how you go, where you go from here. How do you move forward?
I was honestly sick last night. Like when I was at the Elks, you can ask my folks. It was not. I wasn't the happiest person. A lot of it had to do with the fact that I watched that video, and I wish I wouldn't have.
That was the other thing I wanted to talk about.
It was just like human curiosity got the best of me, I guess. But it replayed over and over in my mind. My stomach literally got sick over the fact that that wasn't fake. That was, that really happened. And
very graphic.
Just knowing
Very
that
brutal.
his wife and kids were there to see it. Another thing that I want to add is the fact that a lot that I learned yesterday about this man was he was just very reasonable.
Yeah.
He was so good at his discourse and conversation, people could not argue with him. And
Right.
I think the fact that he was so good at putting his point across frustrated people that could not get their point across.
Couldn't be right. Yeah. Well, and I think, so I have, I saw the video inadvertently. So then, of course, I worry about, younger generations seeing something like this. We're never meant to see that. It's too much to consume for anyone's brain, let alone short. And then I'm wondering, where are these moderators that can't keep, they check my Facebook post when I call someone a
Yeah.
douchebag, but this ends up on there. And
Well-
it's like, this is, it proves my point that it's furthering whatever agenda is out there for social media, Facebook, Instagram, because they're trying to push this divide.
Okay, but remember, back in 1963, we had the Zapruder. We eventually saw the Zapruder film, and we watched the assassination of President Kennedy. And again, that was a different time, but it eventually happened, and it took a while for that video to get out. We did not have the internet back then. We did not have instantaneous reaction. But I guarantee, had we had it, we would have saw that. We had the video of President Trump getting shot, and had he been killed, we would have seen that video, and it would have been graphic.
I don't think anybody
And
should
Bobby
see that.
Kennedy.
And Bobby Kennedy.
Are
and
these
yes,
videos still available on the internet, though? Like the
I'm
ones
sure you could find
Yeah,
them.
the Kennedy assassination, absolutely. You can, and they show. I mean, you could go on Smithsonian Channel, History Channel, or whatever, and watch the Kennedy assassination. They'll show the Zapruder film, and they'll show the parts of it. And you went to the movie. If you went to the movie JFK, you saw back and to the left, back and to the left. You saw it over and over. So again, it's your choice. Again, this is where I'm on in my role as a publisher of an organization. If we had something like that happen here. It would be a serious discussion, but it's like, should people at least see it?
No.
No.
Nope,
But
and I
it'd be
stand
worth.
steadfast on
It would
that.
be a discussion to have. But yes, there's graphics. We had a
No,
situation
because
years
you
ago.
have to think about
where
his family and
Yeah.
the
I know
simply
that.
thick
It's not
pictures
shown
that
on-
were posted. It was. I feel like it's irresponsible to post something
Very.
for clicks just to get clicks if you're not even considering the people in his lives or his loved ones that are going to now have access to that should never see that.
Well, I also think that it's different because he is not an elected official. Let's be honest. He is not a political whatever. He wasn't president. Again, had there been cameras in the balcony at Ford's Theater, we would have seen the assassination of President Lincoln. I mean that. But again, this is a private citizen. This is a man who is out just trying to what he thought would better his country. So again, no, it's a different threshold. We had a situation years ago in Quincy where we had a man who was shot and killed, and the Herald Whig showed the picture of the guy with his hole in his head, and that was like, whoa, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So you pump the brakes on that. It is historic, but again, you got to remember he was just a private citizen and a guy just trying to do what made
still
the
don't
country
show
better.
that.
I don't think no.
And the way that it's happening-
no cable or anything on TV, no news organization,
no public-
has
no-
shown this.
No. And
It
I
is
think-
only the internet.
The way I saw it was so
And I
by
think
accident.
we are above just the internet.
Yeah, it was by accident. And I was
Well,
like,
we wouldn't have shown it. Is
Yeah.
what I'm saying here.
well,
If it would have been him, if we'd have had something where something had happened downtown, we would never show anything that graphic on here. Absolutely not.
Good.
I'm talking
Good.
about the
Yeah.
level. Again, you're talking about senators, presidents, things like that. It's an entirely different situation.
but it doesn't change the reason for showing it. And the
No.
reason for showing it is clicks and attention. And nobody's thinking about the repercussions about anything but profit, and it's disgusting. And I think that that's part of the reason that this shit is happening.
Yeah.
And it's part of the reason that things keep getting perpetuated because media, and I'm not saying Muddy River News, and I'm not saying that, any certain one, that's how they get their views. That's how they make their money. That's how they increase viewership. we got to change some rules around this. Otherwise, we're going to have this shit continue because people love the attention of it. This guy, girl, whoever did this, I don't know. They haven't caught them, as far as I know.
As of our recording, no.
Obviously unstable, obviously did this for whatever reason. There is no good reason in my book, but now it's getting shown and shared, and this attention, and 9 times out of 10 people that commit these acts have some kind of mental instability and narcissism and things that this is feeding into it.
Unstable but highly trained.
Well, highly trained, that's why I was going to go
Like
there
there's
next.
Yeah.
way that some just off your rocker average Joe could have made this happen.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I don't want to say there's no way because there's always a possibility, but
I mean,
if you look
at, I always have a hard time believing that even in President Trump's assassination attempt, that this guy was just someone off the street who decided to go shoot him.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a bigger thing at play here, and there's training at play, and there's things to get these conversations started, and it's all to divide, and it's all to put blood on someone's hands or another, and it's insane to me. It's just crazy that we've started to devalue human life so much that this, and what bothers me even more is it's unfair that the world keeps turning and we just keep going about our daily lives and these things just keep happening, and it's almost like a dime a dozen now. Like it's a normal occurrence, and it's not, we're all getting, I don't want to say desensitized, but there's got to be some kind of shift that this kind of stuff just doesn't happen. And this isn't a platform for gun violence. This is a platform for a human nature. We all have to shift our.
Yeah.
We got to shift.
No, again, I think that you're right. No responsible news organization shows that, and they shouldn't.
Speaking of shifting, Freddy's is going to have to shift their manager. Like I said before, that person who was in charge, I think she was the, I don't know what they called her, the district manager?
One of the managers.
I don't know.
Well, she was like the...
She moved. What I saw on her Facebook was that she was originally from Texas and moved here to,
I think, for this job.
to manage Freddy's.
Yeah.
Well, now she's no longer with Freddy's,
No.
and
I hope Freddy's, though, can come back from this. You know, it's like they've opened their doors, and then 2 days later, their manager just puts them in a rut. And I don't think, I mean, I do understand the whole boycotting thing. You boycott, but we boycott, and what you wanted done was done. So now I don't see.
I think the swift action on their part is going to make
I think so too.
make their reputation
think they'll be
very
fine.
commendable.
Yeah.
I do think that now what's being called into question, because again, everybody loves to be divided. So at first everybody was hollering for her to get fired. Now she's fired. Now everybody's hollering because she doesn't have freedom of speech. Oh, okay, guys, we got to pick a lane here. But freedom of speech does not cover your ass. You can say what you want, but there are consequences behind it.
Read the amendment, please.
Also, it has to
about
do with government
Yes.
covering you when you say stuff, right? So
Yeah.
there you go.
If you say something stupid, your employer can fire you
Yeah.
for it.
Do your research.
Especially if it is detrimental to your employer.
But I just
Because,
can't believe
yes.
how much people just want to fucking argue. And sorry for the language, but it's, you wanted this, you got it. Now you have people who are coming to the defense of this person. It's like, it blows my mind. People are insane.
I'm just going to end with people are
Yeah, they
insane.
really are.
I mean,
But I guess the good news is that you most of the time hear more about the people everybody who's attention seeking or doesn't really have a pot to piss in or no skin in the game. They're very loud. They don't have like very solid beliefs. They just want to come out and be heard. They want the attention. There are good people in this world, so it bothers me that this kind of stuff is put in the spotlight so heavily because it fails to capture the goodness of people. There are so many good people, like Charlie Kirk was. I think we need to do a better job of highlighting that, which is what we're going to do tonight. We have some good people here in the room with us. It's our job to talk about this stuff.
A saint, some might
Yes.
say, because of her, because of who she's had to raise.
Right? But I think we try to keep a nice balance of reporting the not so good and the good, and tonight we're going to spotlight the good, and I can't wait to have this conversation. I've had a few conversations with this lovely lady outside of the studio, and she's got some good stories. So, yeah. Coming up next, we sit down with Brittany Boll's mom. Stay tuned.
What have you been missing on Muddy River Gems? You won't believe your eyes. My crew and I have been bringing you stories for more than 20 years on PBS and now Muddy River News. And we're just getting started.
Okay, so we kicked off tonight's club with some heavy stuff, and then we ended it talking about some good stuff. And that good stuff is sitting with us here tonight, Kathy Boll. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I don't want to embarrass you, but not only are you an incredible human being, I've gotten the pleasure to sit down and speak with you a couple times, but you've raised this one, who has since become my best friend and confidant, and she's since raised an incredible human being. So it's a long line of greatness, and I think that deserves some attention. And I don't want to get emotional, but thank you.
Well, thank you for the compliment. That's
yes.
very nice. Her dad did
Thank
play
you.
a part in it
Okay.
as well.
Well, thank you also. Of course, we got to sit down with him as well not too long ago to talk about his long life in broadcasting. And you know, it's strange that you've followed suit.
I wasn't supposed to though.
But-
Like that was what they always told me was whatever you do not get into media, broadcasting, anything like this.
Well, how could you not? Because as we'll talk
It wasn't
about
the plan,
a little
but-
bit more, you were also there. But before we go to your long and amazing career that has taken you in many different paths, I want to start at the beginning. Quincy, are you born and raised? in
Born and
Quincy?
raised in Quincy,
Okay.
yeah. Actually was born at the old St. Mary's Hospital,
Yes.
which no longer exists. but-
Which we also have a commonality there. My grandma was her nurse, and my grandma was an incredible human being.
no,
but she
her
was
nurse
very
for my
for your
her
for your
delivery.
She was
birth.
born there.
Yes. So okay, and you were born there as well. So
I was
a very
born there,
long
and
line.
then I had, yes. Then I
Yes.
had the first two of my children there.
Okay, so the conversation that we had last time was about my grandma, who was very outspoken, very
Oh,
opinionated.
She was a peach.
Yes, she was.
I wonder where you get it from.
Right? Listen, it's kind of,
Yeah.
there's no denying where we stem
come
from.
from.
But so Quincy, born and raised at St. Mary's, that's amazing. So what was your, just real quick, if you can give me like a 10,000 square foot view growing up, how many siblings, what did it look like for you?
Oh, wow. So I am the oldest of actually now 6. There were 5 of us between my mom and dad, and we were born in very, very fast succession.
Catholic family.
Yeah,
Bing, bang, boom.
exactly.
No birth control here, baby.
Yeah, so 3 years and 3 months separate the first 4 kids. And
Wow.
Yeah, then they took a little break for a couple years, and then they had the other one. When I was 16, my parents did divorce. My dad remarried. I do have a younger half-sister who is amazing, and she would be a great guest for you sometime
Yeah.
because she is a CSI in Columbia, Missouri.
Okay.
Anyway, she's actually only like 3 years older than Brittany, so she was kind of more to me a little bit like a niece
Sure.
than a little sister. But the older she's gotten, the closer we've gotten too.
Yeah.
So, we just grew up in a very, very close family. And I was just thinking
close
about
quarters.
this. Close quarters. I was just thinking about this the other day. So I was actually neighbors with Randy, and it was truly the best neighborhood to have ever grown up in. I grew up on College Avenue, which the part that was behind what now is the mall, and way back then it was
not the mall
a
anymore,
shopping.
Mom.
Yeah, it was the shopping center.
Yeah.
So
Quincy Town Center.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's not the mall anymore.
That's all
either.
right. Yeah.
It's none of those things, but yeah. And so, the house was small. We had 3 small bedrooms, 1 bathroom. I just realized recently I saw a posting or whatever. It was, I think, 887 square feet.
Oof.
And there were 7 people living there.
I was gonna say, so 7 people, 1 bathroom.
Yes.
Holy smokes! Did you have like a timer? You're like, you get 2 minutes.
That
You
is
get-
pretty much the way it
Right?
worked.
Well,
You went in there for your business, and then
And that
the
was
rest,
it.
then the rest of it had to be done in your own room. You
Yeah.
know, so if there was makeup to put on or anything, hair to be curled,
Well,
you
so
know.
doing your business, so getting in, getting out, doing your thing, maybe that's what kind of prompted your long line of success in everything you did. So let's start at the beginning with careers, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important. Careers to some people may just be kind of a one aspect of their life, which I know that, you know, we're bigger than the sum of our parts, but I think that our careers help us create certain qualities in ourselves, and they perpetuate certain things and help you onto your next path. So where did you start? And what it was, okay, so you graduated from what school?
Quincy, Notre Dame.
Okay. And then what age were you when you got your first job?
I was 15
15. Okay. And where was that?
at McDonald's.
Mickey D's.
Which at the time was the only McDonald's in Quincy. There actually were only
Where was
about
it
the one in the I'm not allowed. That's not the mall. it's
Quincy
not
Town
the,
Center?
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
so
you're good.
that's where it was. So I was able to walk to work. I didn't even own my own car until I was 18. You know, when I started college, all my other brothers and sisters had cars. You know, I didn't have a need for one because why? You know,
Yeah.
I could walk to work. You know, it was a great job to have.
They had some pretty sweet uniforms.
We did have very nice uniforms. They were like polyester and very warm. They kept you very warm.
Ooh.
But they had a certain look about them
they
that
did have-
made you feel a part of, like the uniform had held a different meaning
Yes,
back then.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We had a system. We had the rust-colored ones that were our fall and winter uniforms, and then we switched over to a bright lime neon green that was the spring and summer colors. And I do feel like we looked pretty professional.
Yeah.
What do they look like now, Mom?
They've definitely gone downhill a little bit.
Yeah,
She said ragamuffins.
ragamuffins.
I
no,
mean-
I mean I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just it's so different.
different.
You know, they usually have on a t-shirt and jeans.
It's a different standard.
And
Yeah, it's
it
definitely
really
probably not
is.
tucked in.
And when you talk about the
Iron.
standard, that's very interesting because as I was saying before, that was the only McDonald's, and then the only other place was the Hardee's that was on 30th and Broadway. So those jobs were very coveted, and they paid well
Yeah.
for a teenage fast food kind
Starting
of job.
out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You probably
And-
couldn't say
and-
anything bad publicly.
No, and I mean, it's just, I think back like at the interview process, and you had to know how to count back change because that was before computers that told everybody
Yep.
exactly how much to give back. So ironically, when I started, we also had to add everything up in our heads, and all we could punch in was the total. So they made sure that everything ended in a 5 or a 0 to help with the adding. So every price ended on a 5 or 0. We did the math very quickly in our heads. And then at the time, Illinois' tax was the 5%, so we could do that in our heads as well. And then we would just type in the amount, and that's, you know. So you had to be very, very good, you know, mentally, but very physically the
Yeah.
dexterity had to be there. And they would actually test you
Yeah.
in the interview process, like physically test you.
You think they still do that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
And the other thing is like like I said, the jobs were very difficult to come by, so you wanted to keep them.
Sure.
You know,
Now
there
they're
was
like,
there was
"Will
no
you
messing
please
around.
show up for work?"
Right.
Exactly.
That's how I
And-
felt. I mean, at the
yeah.
Abbey, I was like, that was a coveted position.
It
When,
was.
you know, it was like everybody wanted to work there. So when I got a job, I was like, I'm not losing this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I am staying here
That is
until I
correct.
have no longer am able to.
So
Yeah.
two of my siblings, one right at 18, she moved to Florida, and then another one right at 18 moved down to Texas. And the mindset down there was very different. You know, if the surf was up and it was a great day, then
See you later.
bye, I'm
Yeah.
not showing up to work because I could just get another job tomorrow.
Right.
And so my siblings had that work ethic that was very strong, that was, you know, part of
Yeah,
our family.
sure.
And they very quickly moved up the ranks in the kind of jobs that they were doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of it had to do, like I said, it was the work ethic, it was the,
The
you know,
upbringing, product of your environment for sure.
You
Absolutely.
mentioned
Yeah.
college. Where did you go to college?
Well, it was Quincy College when I went there. It is now Quincy University. So, of course, I was very proud when my oldest daughter went to the same school So.
This is just leading up to why I'm her favorite.
Yeah, right?
So you went to Quincy University. You were working at McDonald's during that
Correct.
time. Correct.
I worked at McDonald's for a total of 7.5 years.
Wow.
So I actually had moved into management by the time I was in college. And you talk about uniforms; those were some really nice uniforms.
Snazzy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it looked very professional. Yeah, you don't see that anymore either.
Yeah, and I don't want to like harp on it, but just the standards and the expectations have changed a lot, and I think a lot of people who've grown up in that era, and even in mine, I don't want to age myself, but I wish sometimes it would go back to that. And I always say I wish I was alive at the point when Pan Am came in, when flying was special, and
Oh, yeah.
you got dressed up and. Maybe you could have a cigarette on a
heels or
plane,
whatever,
right? And you got to go
yeah.
on, and it was an occasion. Now I get on there in leggings, and it's like, whatever. I can't wait for this to get over. You know,
Yeah,
it's like we just become
it's-
kind of blasé about everything.
They pack them in there now.
Yeah.
It's not so.
So a few
luxurious.
weeks ago, actually, from the job that I actually retired from, I was the head pharmacist, and several people, we were just sort of in a discussion about the teenage fast food kind of jobs, and he said, "Oh, studies have shown that people that have worked at McDonald's have the best work ethic. They're very reliable. They're like that." And I said, "Well, no wonder, because as one of my former coworkers said, if you can clean the men's restroom on a Friday night at McDonald's, you can do anything."
And listen, girls too. Let's be honest, we're not the cleanest individuals either. But I think that, yeah, so 7.5 years leaving as management. Where did you go after McDonald's?
After McDonald's, I did pursue a job in what I went to school for, which was communications. So there
Why
was
would you go to school for that?
Well, gosh, let me see. I was always very interested in radio and television, and that's how I got involved in it. And then, I ended up getting a part-time job in Canton, Missouri at KQ 102. The late Dennis Oliver was the one that hired me. That is actually where I met her dad.
Do you remember the jingle for this?
I don't know that they had
They
a
didn't?
jingle. Help me out, Steve. Did
KQ 102. KQ
Yeah, I think that was right. That
All right,
was
well,
like
we nailed that one. So you met your husband, her dad, in Canton at KQ 102.
Yes.
Bow chicka wow
What?
wow.
Listen, we don't need to go there. No, I'm kidding.
Wait,
writing's on the wall.
when was I made? Where were you?
Oh, we were married by then, and we were.
It was during the song "Inagata de Vida."
Inagata de Vida, baby. Yeah. Woohoo! All right, so you go to work for this station, and did you know what you were getting yourself into, or what
Oh,
were you
my.
like? I'm looking to do this,
Yeah,
and what did it look like?
Yes and no. I
Okay.
mean, in college, at first I thought I wanted to do on-air stuff, but then I very quickly learned the control room side of things in television, and that is really where I wanted to be.
She likes to control things.
Right.
I'm just
Me
kidding.
too, baby.
I'm
Me
kidding.
too. Yeah.
So that would have been like when I started there would have been like 1987 at KHQA, and I do remember at the time Hank Mayhall, was the one that hired me. He was our boss. Randy worked there, which was interesting because when I was first interviewing for the position, one of the things, I don't even know if they do this still nowadays, but they asked what your expected salary was, and I knew that broadcasting was not.
You're not making
not a
millions.
lucrative position,
Yeah, you're not
and
making
I had put apparently a pretty realistic number down. Hank told me later that I was by far the most realistic of all the people that had applied for the position, so that was one big thing there. But then he had the bad news to tell me was that it was actually going to be less than what I was making at McDonald's.
Oh.
So yeah, so I had a kind of a little bit of a decision to make there.
Sure.
But I knew this is what I went to school for. This is what I want to pursue. Eventually, hopefully, I will make more
Sure.
than that.
Work up through the ranks.
But yeah, it was. I mean, it is kind of strange to think that both sides of it. The people that are down on the McDonald's jobs or the Hardee's jobs or whatever. There's money to be made if you're willing to work and you're a hard
Sure.
worker and you want to get into management. That, like I said, there's money to be made.
Right.
So Hank felt so terrible when he realized that I was going to have to take a pay cut. Then he talked to his bosses or whatever, and they finally agreed to do a lateral move. So they paid me what I was making when I left McDonald's.
That's
So that was
nice.
great.
And
Brittany
what-
was only 6 months old when we started. When I
Really?
started there, yeah.
So what was your initial job there? What was your?
A control room operator.
Okay.
Did like master control. I did not start out in the switching and directing.
So what does this mean to the people who are not in that world when you're talking control operator or switcher? What are you talking about?
Well, we obviously we were getting our main feed from CBS in New York, and so we had to be able to hit the brakes when they were thrown to the local brakes. We had other background stuff that was going on. I mean, it was nonstop. We had a lot of programs that were syndicated at the time. I mean, Oprah and maybe Geraldo. I don't even remember all of the ones. Jeopardy, that was a fun one because, as Randy can tell you, they came through the week before. So we sometimes would watch the final Jeopardy answer.
Oh,
and
and
then
then-
the next week, when it actually aired.
You're like, I think I know this one.
Ooh, who's the smartest one in the room?
Right. So you're basically controlling when things like go camera one, stop, play, pause.
Not so
no?
much. Not so much at first.
Okay.
It was more. It was master control. So you just had the main board that you worked, and run the commercials when you needed to run them. But it was more. Truly, it was more the background stuff that you were doing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it got to the point where, you'd get the cue as this is CBS, and you knew that was the point that you
Yeah.
hit the
button.
Hit the button.
Yeah. And did you
When-
enjoy it?
Oh
Sorry.
my gosh, I loved it.
Yeah.
When I did, it was completely different than what I had trained for, though, in college. When I interviewed for the position, and then Hank was giving me the tour, we went into the control room, and I saw Randy. I'm like, hey, Randy, because he was in my neighborhood. He was one of my peeps that I grew up with,
Sure.
a little bit older than me, but,
No.
I go,
Not
I
that
kind of
much
look not
older.
that much
Come on.
older.
Man.
Yeah.
Poor Randy.
So, so I kind of kept looking around. I'm looking every which way, and I go, Randy, where's the 5 other people that are supposed to be in here with you? And he looked at me and said, I'm
is
it.
it.
This is it. So that is how we operated in the WCU building on the 10th floor. Is the single person did it all.
Very bare
And
bones.
so, yeah, about 3 months into the job there, Hank wanted to kind of promote me to do the, switch the the newscasts. And so I had a lot of learning to do. Obviously, thanks to Tom Stemler, Tom Stock, that worked there at the time, and then probably mostly Randy, because he really is a great teacher. But I was the first female director in the whole city of Quincy.
That is pretty impressive.
That's pretty cool.
I don't think I knew that actually until just recently when we were speaking. I was like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah,
I didn't know the whole. I mean, I knew you were a director, but I didn't know the whole first female director. And Ashley and I are ones that we don't like to always tote on gender with that, but in that time,
Yeah.
and
Pretty
in that
incredible.
period, yeah, I'm going to tote on that. And you're my mom, so I'm toting on that.
Pretty incredible. I think it's very.
I also was the first
important.
person employed there that got pregnant and had a baby while working there.
Wasn't me.
So it wasn't her; it was her sister.
So then, did you work up until like pop time? Or?
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty close too. Yeah. I had a little bit of a back injury, so I was on bed rest for about a week before she was born. But and I had the greatest plan ever too, and I was so mad I didn't get to do it.
You know what they say about plans.
Yeah, especially with birth.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was directing the noon news. My boss actually was the anchor of the noon news, and he was unflappable. Never saw a bead of sweat on him ever, just always right on it. And I kept thinking, I'm going to get him. I am
Yeah.
really going to get him. Because it got to the point where I couldn't even sit anymore. I had to stand and pray that my stomach wasn't going to hit the board.
She was a
as I
really
was
big baby.
she was my biggest baby. But I had this great plan, and I had it all worked out with my camera operator, too. And I was going to tell her, to say, Hank, pick up the phone. We had a little phone intercom thing we could do in the breaks. And I was going to very calmly say, hey, just want to let you know my water did just break. But please don't panic, because I will finish out the
So
newscast.
did it, or were you
No,
joking?
and I never. That's the thing. I never got to
Never
play,
got to do
play
that.
my prank. That I had the greatest prank ever.
should have
You know,
done it
'cause
anyway.
I really wanted to see him sweat, but then I ended up having that injury and
Yeah.
having to stay home for the last week before she was born. So,
Well,
but yeah, they didn't have a precedent for how to even
How to
handle
handle
pregnant.
it, yeah.
You know, how much time to take off.
So
how
you were
much,
the first person to take maternity leave
oh
at
yeah,
that company.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
then did you go back after maternity leave?
Oh, I couldn't. For some reason, could not wait to go back.
I
She
get
was a
it.
big baby.
Well, I get it.
It, you know, after I had my first one, and I think most people, you know, it's painful and sad and awful to have to leave them.
Yeah.
For, you know, the first time at a babysitter's and.
But it's also
but-
you want to get back to
Yes,
your
because then I had two.
humanness.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I had two of them. And Steve and I had always worked opposite shifts. Part of the reason was obviously to save money any which way we
Sure.
could. So if we could cut down on any kind of babysitting costs, that was going to help.
It's nice, but still probably challenging.
Very
Throws
much.
another
So
wrench
I
in
was
it.
home alone, you know, with a newborn and a 3-year-old, and I was very anxious to get back.
Yeah.
And at that time, I appreciated my mom even more as far as having had 4
Yeah.
in 3 years and 3 months or whatever. 'Cause she always had 3 in diapers, and as soon as one would get out, then the next one would get in. So
And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I mean, of course, it's rewarding being a parent. It's also, especially when you are used to being in the environment where you're kind of in control and everything has a routine, and then you have this something that upsets it. And upset it sounds mean, but I flashing back to when I had
Yeah.
Claire, and it was like, oh my God, what did I do? Not that she's not the best thing that ever happened to me.
Exactly.
Parenting
But it
is
is
something that,
so
like,
difficult.
You can't. I mean, yes, you can control your parenting, but you can't always control the result of.
all of the factors that
Yeah.
are surrounding it is the most rewarding and challenging thing, and I can understand wanting to get back to some sense of
yeah,
independence.
I couldn't
and-
wait to get out
Yeah,
of the hospital
I get it.
well, after I had her, and I also couldn't wait to get
So
back to
many
work.
kudos to stay-at-home moms, and I think for a long time it's been,
Yeah.
well, you're just a stay-at-home mom. Try it.
Yeah.
Then
it's
get
not,
report back.
It's not great.
No, yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of emotions and trying. So when you got back to work, did you know that you wanted to stay there, or did you have other things kind of on your brain that you were like, I want to try something different? When did it start to kind of take shape that you were maybe?
Yeah. A lot of it did have to do with Steve's career too. So what had happened was he got hired at WTAD Radio in 1990, which was perfect for me because in the months before that, you know, he'd quit his last job very unexpectedly, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you know, one
What are
income.
we gonna
and
do?
yeah, one income. But then on the flip side, I was also thinking, but we have a newborn baby, so there's going to be somebody there taking care of that baby that
Sure.
loves her as much as I do. So, you know, I tried to look at the positive, but it was hard. And it was you know, a happy day when he got hired in January of 1990 at WTAD, and they were actually in the same building as us at the WCU building. So he was on a different floor than I was, but and we pretty much worked different shifts. But you know, it was kind of neat to just be in the same building. And about 3 years later, he got offered the morning drive on WTAD radio, which, gosh, it's hard to describe now, but back when, you know, AM radio was huge.
Yeah, it was
and I'm
king.
not saying that it's not now.
No, it was
but
king. Yeah.
that was, you know, the
Coveted
ultimate
position.
job.
Yeah.
And so we thought to ourselves, and I was already going to work at 4 o'clock in the morning myself. So I thought, and Brittany was reaching the age of school, so she was getting to be like preschool, kindergarten age. And we thought, even if we could find a babysitter that was willing to take, you know, children that early in the morning, then they're going to still have to go back to sleep, and then you're going to have to wake them up,
Sure.
and is it fair to them to have split? And I thought, no, you know what? I honestly thought to myself, I've had my career, because that's what I went to school for.
Sure.
That's what, I mean, I loved broadcasting. I mean, I still do, but I thought, I've had my career, you know, I'll get just a job.
Yeah.
And so I did actually start looking for my just a job, and inadvertently, you know, stumbled upon pharmacy.
career.
Yeah, I had always held kind of an interest in it, mainly from when the kids were little, and I had to use the pharmacy all the time because
Sure.
they were always sick
Yeah.
and needing antibiotics. And everybody there was so nice and so happy and so friendly. And I remember thinking, that's the kind of job I want. I want to go to work and be happy and help people. And so in a little bit roundabout way, I mean, I first started at the medicine shop in Quincy in 1993.
Ooh, that just gave me flashbacks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Northwest
I was
Medicine.
Yes, I do.
I was only there for
Yeah.
a couple, 3 months probably, when the levee broke
Yeah.
and all hell broke loose in Quincy, and
Quite literally.
yeah, literally, it really was. I'll have to tell you some other time about that night, because it was crazy. You know, we just happened to be out. We'd never get a night out.
Yeah.
You know, and so Steve and I were out with other people, and everybody that we were out with was media people, and we were at a restaurant/bar that was across Washington Park, and we heard the explosion, and everybody went running out to see what was going on. All we could see was the big ball of fire over in West Quincy. Nobody knew what was happening, but we also knew we needed
Something
to get.
was big, yeah.
And nobody could get to their car. It was going to take more time. So we literally ran. You know, there were about 15 of us running across Washington Park to get over to the WCU building. I remember jumping on the elevator. Well, we gave each other a kiss, and he got off on the 4th floor, and I went up to the 10th floor. You know, we said we don't know when we're going to see each other again. We
Yeah.
don't know what's happening. Fortunately, we had his parents were watching the girls at
Sure.
the time. So, yeah, I walked in and said, it might have been Randy. I can't even remember who was there, you know, and I threw down my purse and I go, "Where do you need me?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Can you run a camera?" Well, haven't done one since college. but
Let's give her a
I
shot.
can-
So
I think I can
you
figure
weren't
it out.
working there at the time? or
I had
you were?
actually quit. I had actually quit and gone into the
The pharmacy.
pharmacy.
Okay.
So working at the medicine shop during this, decided to go back
Yeah, 'cause-
over and kind of, because you
And
had
the medicine
feeling
shop
of,
also was relying, we were the second location, a downtown location, so we were going to rely a lot on Missouri business.
Yeah.
And obviously that dried up. So I really wasn't able, they couldn't justify, you know, paying for a tech
Sure.
there. So it all kind of worked out. Hank said, "Will you please, please, please come back?" And so I kind of did go back for another, I don't know, 6 months or so. I guess 6 or 8 months it would have been. One night I was working, and Steve Feldy, who probably most of
Yeah.
you guys have heard of.
Love Steve.
He's a regular
he's
here.
a regular-
Pretty cool guy.
He used to be one of the anchors and reporters at KHQA, and then he got a job at Blessing Hospital in the marketing and PR department. And he was working full-time at Blessing, but then he was coming back to KHQA in the evenings to help out there. I mean, it's just that
It's
broadcasting
very, yeah, once you,
mentality.
yeah, you're like, I'm here.
No, you need to
Never
go back
getting
and
out.
help. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I am
And-
not helping you, Bob, after I quit. For the record.
Oh, yes, she
For
will.
the
She
record.
doesn't
That's
like
right.
to say that she
I'm
will,
gonna
but I
write-
bet she
I'm gonna
would.
write that down, but yeah. So one night Steve was walking through the control room and he said, "Hey," he goes, "You've been working in pharmacy, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I think we might have an opening at the hospital." And from then on, it was actually, you know, destiny. So
Very
I went
cool.
there and got the job. And that's where I spent nearly the last 32 years. It was
32
31 and a
years.
half, more than a half.
When you hung up your badge, so you were talking about putting your badge on for the last time, which I'm sure was a very emotional time. But before we get to that, you had another first. You were the first person to achieve a certification or an accreditation as
Yeah, well, I actually wasn't the very first person there that had gotten the certification, the pharmacy technician board certification. There were a couple people that had it, and I thought, well,
Why not me?
I can figure this out,
Yeah.
you know. And so I studied and I worked hard, and you know, it was difficult. The only part that was difficult at that point was the IV room, because I hadn't had a lot of experience in the IV room. But the rest of it, I thought I can do this. And I do remember going down to St. Louis, and by then I'd had my third child. So I
Yeah.
had Brittany while I was working at McDonald's.
you mean the best one?
Oh, the one who
that-
thinks that I was supposed to say.
Well, we have to call it out
We have
because
to call it out, because before I
Josh-
came, Josh, before I came here this afternoon, he said, "Make sure that you say you have 3 children. The youngest one is Josh, and he is our favorite. And then there's 2 other
and then
ones.
there's the other two.
There's other 2.
Yeah.
Why was Josh able to say that to you? Where was he?
Uh-oh, I feel some turmoil brewing.
Was he still at? were you guys at home?
We
where he
were.
still
Josh
lives?
gonna get a visit later on.
I feel like that's a dig.
Was he still at home where he lives?
Josh,
with you?
Josh does.
Listen.
Josh does
Huh.
still live at home.
That's, there's nothing wrong with that,
No,
buddy.
no, and I thank you for
I
doing
think I'm
that
coming.
because
I'm coming to live with you.
yeah, you're
quickly.
always going to be the lawnmower. They're going to be their caregiver, and you're going to be their first call. We'll change that on the hospital form soon, Josh.
There we go. So it comes with responsibilities, buddy. There it is. But
But
anyway,
back to your story
back
on
to your story.
certification.
Yes.
So I did. That was something else. Going down to St. Louis to have to take the test. We went the night before. I had to map out my route because it was at SLU, which was where I was going to sit for the test, and it's a very long thing.
Yeah.
And I don't even, I guess, really know why, but we felt the need that it had to be a family thing. They all had to go.
I mean,
and,
yeah, why not?
and then,
I
you
don't
know,
remember this.
my husband cheaped out. Not gonna lie, cheaped out big time.
We're just digging the bull man right now.
And decided that we should just get a motel by the airport because it was the cheapest. Well, there's a reason why the motel at the airport was the cheapest.
There's
Loud.
there's a lot of
It-
sounds.
yeah. So it was one of those where you get into the motel from the outside door. So
Oh, was it an hourly kinda gig?
That just tells you a little bit right there.
Where did you bring
Heart-shaped
me?
bed
Yeah.
that vibrates, guys. I don't know. I'm just saying.
So we get in there, we get all settled, we think, and it's the dead of winter. The heat doesn't work. Oh my gosh. So we had to pack everybody back up. They had to get us a different room. So there was all that trauma. And you know, and then it was just very difficult because I was so nervous, you know, the night before about
Yeah.
taking the test.
Sure.
And,
then
the
you gotta
plane,
cover
and then
up
you got the
with
plane zooming
planes
over
and
overhead.
the crusty
I don't know. I'm pretty
comforters.
sure I did not sleep, but the next morning, you know, obviously they were all sound asleep, and then I took the vehicle, and you know, like I said, we'd mapped out the route before
Yeah.
the night before, and I went to SLU and sat for the test. I'm always one of those people that think as soon as I get done taking the test, oh my gosh,
failed it.
I failed it.
I do too.
And actually, I did incredibly well on it.
Good.
So that was really, really cool. And I was one of the first ones at Blessing Hospital that did get the certification. And then 5 years ago, I was for sure the first one that got the advanced certification. And that kind of came about a little bit because of COVID. It gave me the opportunity, you know, we weren't as busy, so it gave me the
Sure.
opportunity to work on stuff, and there was online classes and everything that you had to do. But then when you would sit for each test, it had to be a Pearson testing center, and the only place that
Yeah.
did that was down at the courthouse or whatever. And so it was COVID, and like I said, they had rules, and it was just a struggle
Sure.
to get through it. But it was one of my proudest moments,
But you
know,
did.
as far as doing it.
Aha. And there you go. See? I
So
think
that was the, sorry for smacking
No.
in front of your face. That was, yeah, let's high five too. That was, that second certification, you were the first.
Yes, I
At
believe I was.
Blessing, or-
I was one of the first in the nation.
That's what I thought.
I got an email that said,
Yeah.
you know, that you're like one of the
Yeah.
first, you know, 100 people that have even done this across the entire country.
Wow.
Incredible.
So yeah, I was pretty excited
You
about that.
should be.
I don't think very many people take so much pride in their jobs the way that you do. And that's why I think that you achieved that status too. I think some people like kind of just sit stagnant a little bit, and you were never that person. You were always looking for something more and climbing the ladder,
Crank it to 11.
which is why I know that your retirement, which is what you're here for today, kind of, you know, hit you hard. Like you said, the last time you clocked in with a badge, I'm assuming you felt like it's the last time you're going to a career. I know you hate me saying this, but I always think that there's more, and there might be more in the future. But she's like ready to rest. She's like, I'm ready to rest, Brittany, and rest.
I am going to keep
but
my
I know
license
you.
and certification
I
active.
know you,
I
and
will.
you're going to. I feel like there'll be a fourth chapter.
You think?
I do. I just think that you can't sit still. I know you all too well, and I'm looking forward to seeing like what the future has to hold. You know, this isn't the end of the chapter. I'm not saying you have to go on and do anything else. There are plenty of other opportunities
Oh, yeah.
that doesn't involve necessarily a career or a job. There are just so many opportunities in our
Mm-hmm.
community, and I just think you're going to be a huge asset to one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the back of my mind, I've thought about, you know, some of the patients I've had over the years that have struggled, you know, to keep their medications straight and things like that. And I do remember when my mom was still alive, I you know, filled out her little monthly or weekly planner all the
Sure.
time, and I would always keep track of that. And then I did the same for her brother, Uncle Roy.
Yeah.
Uncle Roy's Father Bauer.
Yeah.
Just for
He's
anyone that
he's
doesn't
always
know.
just been and he will always be Uncle Roy for us. But I did the same for him, and I somehow feel like even just something as simple as that.
There's an opportunity.
Yeah, I was just thinking as you were saying that my wheels were
There's a
turning.
lot
I'm
of
like, dang,
opportunity.
there's a independent business right there.
Yep. I think that's a big struggle for anyone who knows a loved one who struggles with taking care of their own medication and trying to stay on top of things. That's a not, yeah, I think we've just kind of uncovered something here. But
No kidding. And if you don't do it, someone else will.
I don't want to hold you
so.
accountable, but I think that, you know, when you're talking about, so you're saying there's a next chapter and she never was quite sitting still, I'm equating it like the whole time. I'm like, sounds like somebody else I know, this gal. So it's very, it is so.
It runs in the family.
It really does, and it's incredible to sit and listen to all of this, and I think it's so important.
It has honestly been, for Steve and I, one of the greatest joys of parenthood.
Yeah.
Is that we have passed on to all three of our kids the work ethic.
Yeah.
You know, I think that we just always wanted them to be happy and successful, but, you know, just as it was, you know, impressed upon me as a young child, I think we've always done that with our kids. And
Okay,
all
fine,
three
Bob.
of them.
I will help you.
I was
going
gonna
to
say, yeah, we already knew that.
All three
We
of
already
them,
knew that was
yeah.
going to happen
We already
anyway.
knew that.
Yeah,
You
so-
can't say no to somebody when you know there's a need. You just can't. But
No,
now I
and
see
Kathy,
where it comes
especially if-
Kathy, someday I'm going to die. I'm not going to retire, but I'll die, and you can take this over
Oh,
over here,
okay.
okay?
Look, we've already got you signed up for a new career here.
Okay.
At
Put your name
MRN.
on-
Let me
We'll
write
put
that
your name on
down.
the
I'm going to
board
write that
here.
down. Okay.
Producer of Club
Right?
Buddy.
Okay, so before we go, because this has been an incredible conversation, and I don't want to cut it short, but we do unfortunately have a time limit. We may run out of tape.
Why is Brittany your favorite
I
child?
was gonna ask. No, I was gonna ask something a little more. I guess.
Brittany is the
Blinders.
most like me. I will
Yeah.
say that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
This obsession with favorite child stems from her because in her family, they always joke about who's the favorite daughter with their dad.
Yeah.
You'll see this in
Oh,
our
the
family
picture.
reunion. They all were wearing these T-shirts at the most recent family reunion that said, "I'm the favorite daughter, I'm the favorite daughter." And my grandpa's just walking around, and they're just waiting for him to notice. And he is really normally a person that's pretty keen on detail, very like on it.
observant.
It took him a minute to see this,
Yeah.
and once he did, it was golden.
Hilarious.
It was good. Yeah.
Well, I won't pin you down to who's a favorite, but we all know everybody has a favorite.
Well,
I'm kidding.
and
It's-
I know honestly, when you said that, and people that say they don't have
Do
a
not
favorite,
reveal it
no,
here, Mom. I don't want my
it's
siblings
not,
to
it's
hate
not.
us. To hate me.
No, what I'm gonna what I'm gonna say is, when people say I don't have a favorite or
Depends on
whatever,
the
I
day.
think exactly.
depends on the situation. This is what I tell my
It
girls
depends.
all the time.
It depends.
I
There's
hate
certain-
both of you equally
Yes,
some days.
There's
okay?
some, yeah.
Yeah,
There
I love both of
there,
you
exactly.
equally.
There are stages and
Yeah.
ages and things that are your favorite.
Yeah.
So at that time, you know, that child is your favorite.
Yes.
But
Yeah. We all go
it
through
all
that.
changes, and of course we love them all.
Mela, you're my
100%.
favorite.
Well, you're my favorite too. Don't tell my girls. Nah, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I love both of my girls, and it is obvious that when you have more than one child, your love just expands. Like you just are able to
Yeah.
encapsulate all of it, which is incredible. I think that this episode of Club Muddy has encapsulated our love for everything good with you, and of course with your daughter. And it's always nice to sit down and talk about the good things. I know
Yes.
we tend to.
Especially when we had to focus on the
Yeah.
summer things at the beginning. I like to
Yeah.
end it on good.
Yes, but I do want to ask any embarrassing stories that you want to give us a little nugget of with this one here.
God.
Give us a good one, Kathy.
really
Come on.
can't- If I do, she will.
She'll kill you.
She
All
will
right.
kill
Well, maybe
me.
we'll do it off camera.
But she,
Go ahead.
yeah, she definitely.
I have a rebuttal.
She was definitely our most challenging during the teenage years
yeah,
out of all the kids. Yeah,
that's why.
That's right.
Maybe
don't
that's
have
why we
time.
get along so well, because I was a challenge as well.
Yeah, I mean that was a challenge, but
Look
you
at her
know,
now.
Look at her now,
Yeah.
and we did something.
Look at
right.
me now.
Yeah.
I'm getting paper.
Yeah. So I will say.
Oh,
that-
real quick, got to throw in the other two.
Yes.
The other two, the middle one, Kylene,
Uh-huh.
is a nurse down in St. Louis. We're very, very proud of her as well. Obviously, she's, you know, she's done an amazing job. And when you speak about the work ethic, the same thing. I mean, barely started working there, and they asked her to become a charge nurse.
Yeah.
Her control is beyond my mom's.
She is
Yeah,
very,
she's-
she is very controlling.
hey.
Almost to the point, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then sometimes I need to be medicated when I have to go down and visit her.
It's all coming out now, guys. Thank you, Tower, for sponsoring Club Money tonight with the
all
margaritas.
right.
No, I'm kidding.
My favorite drink.
I love honesty. I
And
love
last
honesty.
but not least,
Last but not
Josh.
least, Josh, who thinks he's the favorite. He has worked at Hy-Vee on Harrison for quite some time. A couple years ago, became the dairy manager there, and did a pretty bang-up job. I mean, his first week there as manager, their sales increased, tremendously, and they kept saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing different?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "If I put the product on the shelf, then people will buy it.
Right.
If it's not on the shelf,
effort.
they can't buy anything."
effort,
So
yeah.
he does take great pride in what he does, and I think he is very, very good at what he does as well. So
All a product of a very wonderful environment. Steve and Kathy Boll are, of course, incredible parents. Brittany, my best friend, but it has to come from somewhere. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us. I know you've had a long journey to get to retirement. I hope that you enjoy it. I know Brittany's already got you slated for another position, but enjoy your time. Enjoy time with family. Savor in those moments, because as we all know, life is short, and
that is true.
Got to make
and like
the
you
best
said,
of
after
everything.
everything that's happened this last week, it does.
Puts
it
it in
brings
perspective.
it does put it in a perspective.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Love
coming
you,
on.
Mom.
I love you too.
I love you too.
you. I love
Don't
you
forget
too.
Harry.